Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and peace, and as much as you can have harmony in these times to everyone. This is a message in line with, of course, like the few videos that I gave this month, well, actually last month, most of last month, in relation to the COVID 19 virus pandemic and crisis, to say that there are other things that go on besides this COVID 19 that is a crisis, has been a crisis. And this main crisis in this country that I still reside in, and the likes of people like myself, which happen to be, um, if you want to say people of color, or if you want to be more specific, African American. That's my background as far as my father's side. My mother's side is African Hispanic from Honduras. So, I have two different cultures and like nationalities, if you want to say, but they're all basically descendants of from the continent of Africa, because that's why they have those names in them. And or you could say with like my mother, you could say is black Hispanic, because or Latin person, because they have different I guess you can say backgrounds of their origin as far as the nationality is concerned. They were mixed. They weren't only just Spanish speaking people and that was it. It was as far as their nationalities. There, in my mother's country, you had from Spain, you had the Mayan Indian part, and you had my mother's people, and there's others that I don't know of. But the point again, the history of that, which was the early crisis, was slavery or the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade. But before that, settlements, like in my mother's land, but as history has been known, especially if you trace back the history according to sound sources in Africa of the kingdom of Benin. There was a king, and he went there with some of his people, advisors, and the likes of this, and people to go and I think seek to find who was there. And I can't remember all the historical parts and details, but they found people there, and those were the Mayans, and there was the Arawak and different nationalities that were native to those lands, right there to that land, and that's which they call Central America altogether, where my mother's country is at. And so they settled there for a little while. So the mixing of the Africans with those people was early, even before the transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade brought a whole nother type of phase and a whole nother type of era there. And it was a terrifying era, and it was a destructive era under the powers and control of white supremacy, or European supremacy first, actually, to say, at that time. And then it became when people started, you know, making distinction between the races, this white and black. It's like here, Negro, or the worst of the words, nigger, for the black people, and for the white person, white. But then the negative terms that we started using, cracker, and you got all these different terms now, but they basically, the way and how things went was always the same. History was taught differently, and given differently from both sides. So the sadness, basically what I'm here and speaking, and try to make the video as short as I can, is that we're still living in the results of it. In such that doesn't make really any sense at these times. 2020, you know, a whole another millennium according to the Gregorian calendar. Uh, it's just it's unfathomable for me and a lot of people to really, like, if they think about it, say why and how is this still going on? How, and now I'm going to get to more of a specific point of the crisis that has recently took about happened out of all the other, you know, events and evil events that took place with people getting killed due to their national or their race and color of their skin. And I want to get into the solutions to the problems for us as a people. Because, again, like I said, I am of the African American descent. Because in Islam, as I mean, me being Muslim, and then also when you deal with lineage and like this, an African lineage and like this, the father is the one that you descend from, because the sperm, that's the lineage part. That's the point that goes from dealing with the genes, and the main part of the genes of a human being is it is conceived from the father, and then it goes to the mother, and the mother gives her part, her genes, in within that egg. When that sperm hits the egg, and it all that process that takes place with reproduction that Allah placed for this creature, and that becomes a human being, and the soul is breathed into it. So basically, back to the point, I came to realize and seeing another video amongst all the rest that ultimately frustrate me, and I'm at a hilt of it where I'm gonna bring you the results or the solution that what I see, as well as a lot of people like me, but then you got a lot of people who don't see it that way, and it's understood. And I'm talking about people that fall into my people, not the other side, not the side that is committing the atrocities on a more higher level as far as the white supremacist here in this country of America. You might have heard me in Facebook, and I might say America KKK. And when I do that, that's only to tell you the essence of the foundation of this country, who controls it, was based on the same kind of mentality and ideology of the KKK, because they came out of it. They came out of white supremacy. They're a product of white supremacy, this group. But their mentality has been pushed through the country even more prevalently in their times when they came to be who they were. So that's why we use that term. Some of us who are in the African diaspora, some of us who have a little more knowledge of our heritage and are learning and trying to know and wake up from the bondage, the mental bondage, and to be more freer thinking, freer minded, and get out of the box that's here, just here in this country, and go search your heritage, find out where you originated from. You know, it's funny because I was listening to this brother. His name is Banali Miller, I think. Just a few minutes ago, I cut his video off because I wanted to express myself. Bottled up, frustration. Sometimes it's good to talk, and then nowadays they got the technology like this, and you could talk to yourself or talk to a camera. But sometimes it's better to talk to the people too, and get it out to the people. And probably benefit somebody with what you say. That's also, as a Muslim, we got to be careful what we say. So, I'm trying to be mindful as what I'm saying. So forgive me for whatever I make errors, whatever it is. It's from me, and what's perfect, of course, is from Allah. So, from the Creator. So again, back to the point. This atrocious acts that they do, killing a life, taking a life. And in Islam, we have a real understanding and precept of when it comes to life, of any life, but let alone just human life, that is precious. That is Allah's is his right to take and to give. It's not ours, unless he sees that we have been our lives have been endangered and we have the rights to protect our life. If it might end up we take another's, but still we have to also ask Allah for forgiveness because it's precious. So it's mentioned that one in Islam and from the Quran and the Sunnah, from what I understand, from what I've come to know, that Allah is mentioned that if one takes a life of one human, it's like taking the life of all mankind. And this is very, very significant. It should be significant through all religions, all faiths, all of us people, no matter what nationality, race we are. But it's not. That's clear, and it's been like that for many years since mankind decided to take the first blood, spill the first blood of his own brother. But anyway, a few days ago, if I can say correctly, if I'm on point with the time that it took place, a young man, his name is Ahmad or Ahmadi or Ahmad. It's an African way of saying Ahmed, which is Arabic for the praiseworthy. It was one of the names of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But in African culture, when they name their son, Islamic culture, Muslim Africans, they might change a little bit the name when they bring the name to the child or give the name to the child. Especially sometimes it's descendant from their family. So anyway, I think it was Do something Berry, can't remember, but it's in the news. He lived in Georgia. Him and his mom. I don't know if his father was present or he is present. I'm not sure. The media didn't really bring that into the forefront. It was basically his mom is the main one that they show now after his death, and his death was due to they trying to hush it up and not shine any light on that is a racist thing, but the actions and gestures of these men. People think everybody's stupid. Politicians, they're taught, and I learned this in college. They're taught when I took a course on speech. They're taught to do certain gestures that people can react to certain gestures. So they're taught how to use certain gestures to make people really like them. Let alone when you are emotional and you don't care about how you feel, and you just like have no control. You're just doing it as you please, and your desires are free going, especially with anger, and you have no choice. It's like you have no control. So you're showing your true colors, your true negative gestures. Gestures is something of bodily movements showing our emotions, and then also listening to sounds. Allah blessed us with ears. You know what I mean? We're not all deaf. So, and you watch videos, you got your eyes, what you see. You understand? So, in the video, the footage is clear. Same old gestures as movies, not even real footage of things that took place in the past when white supremacist attackers came upon black or African Americans. Back then it was black men, and attacked them and even killed them, lynched them up. With what? What did they have? Pickup trucks, where they was on the back of the truck, shotguns, some in the front. It's like the same old picture. Hunting down a black man. How many was there in that whole scene? 3, basically. They're what we can see. It was the one who was actually fighting with him, and they have his name on the news, can't remember. And the one other one that was in the truck, I think it was on the top. And then you had somebody who was actually filming it. And then again, like I said, the ears is your senses. Doesn't make you dumb, deaf, dumb, blind. No, no. When you have it and it's functional, you're not you're not deaf. You can hear. So you was able to hear advancing the mechanism on top of the gun, whether it was automatic or semi-automatic. Pulling it back, meaning putting the bullet in chamber. I know guns because I started learning when I got and purchased my own, and I'm a gun carrier, so I know what's the sound. And most people, even in movies, that's the sound. Those sounds are amplified to make the movie sounds seem more real. Clack clack, and you hear it in that video if you listen well. Listen to the video. If you watch it, and hear it over again. I wouldn't say watch it a lot because the footage is disturbing. If you really care and you have compassion for another human being, and you're not racist. But if you're racist, then it's no problem because you like, well, he was a black whatever anyway. But this man got attacked. He was chased, and then he saw that they was trying to come at him, and he tried to defend himself. But yet they still let off with the shots on him. He didn't have no weapon on him whatsoever. He was jogging. So what did you need a gun for? I mean, if you felt this guy was a burglar, as they claim, there's three of y'all. Y'all could have apprehended him and just got him onto the ground, tied it. You know, two of them supposed to be police. They were ex-police or something. One was the DA. Oh, come on, you're supposed to be professional. Take his arm, wrap it around the back of him, tie it up. Say we're holding you under citizen arrest until the cops come as suspicion of you committing a burglary. Because why are you running or whatever? If he didn't want to, respond back to them and let them know why he was running. If they asked him that, who's to say? We weren't there. Nobody was there but them. But we ended up seeing a killed man shot up. Crisis. Now I'm going to tell you 1742 in the time. I'm going to try to finish up. And I'm going to say it briefly. This has been going on for as long as we can say. I was one time before I became to Islam, or before I came to Islam, to say it better, that was an incorrect way to say it, but before I came to Islam, I went through different types of ways of my life of knowing of how to see what was my purpose here and what was I supposed to do. I always believed in Allah, always believed in God, but I had a different understanding through the faith that I was brought up and raised in as a Catholic, Roman Catholic, on both sides of my family. But then I got into Rasta, I tried to be into Hebrew Israelite, and I became nationalistic with Rasta and the Hebrew Israelite as well. It's like, nah, I don't want to deal with white people no more. I used to have white girlfriends when I was young in high school, but it was like I stopped and I was like, it was upset and angry and frustrated. And there's reasons. But, alhamdulillah, I came to know the balance. And the balance is, for me, is Islam, of course, but I can't make any of you become Muslim, so, that's not what I'm here for. But I'm here to say, for me, to know that first, number one, is the qadr of Allah. And number two, it's to show that wakening up. Wake up call again. Just like I was mentioning in a lot of my videos, COVID virus, the COVID-19 is a wake up call. So, but this stuff that's going on, has been going on, is a wake up call. Again, Allah keeps allowing it to be seen. Allowing you as an African American or black person in this country to be seen, to wake up. I mean, how much and when are you going to realize? When are you going to realize that and get tired of being tired? And I'm not here to try to preach, let's rise up, let's march outside, because that doesn't work and it hasn't worked. Let's boycott, because no one's going to boycott. They're going to still buy the products from the white man, and as well they buy from the Chinese man and all these other people they complain about that don't do nothing for the community. You're going to still buy the products. You're not going to buy from people who you know in your community that are same like you, African American. You're not going to do it. Buy for everybody else. You're not going to have cooperative economics majority. I'm talking about the majority. There are a good portion of entrepreneurs, African American entrepreneurs, black and entrepreneurs, or even African from native Africa came here and they decided to set up shop, and they have their businesses and everybody, and they're flourishing. But right now, it's a wake up call again. They don't care whether you're flourishing. They don't care whether you're jogging. They don't care what you're doing. If they don't like it, they're going to do what they want to do as far as stop it. If they don't, you're talking about rising up and being firm or standing for something like Colin Kaepernick. And what do? Try to shut down his career, right? Because to them, whether he has a white mother or not, he's still a black person. Or they say worse to say black nigga. That's what we are to them. Now, why would you want to remain under the rulership and under the control with the mental, besides everything else, even financially, I mean, socially, everything, still predominantly white supremacy. You see commercials, you see movies, you watch a show. Who's the predominant people in there? Now, slowly but surely, they're trying to show you interracial stuff. I guess they're trying to get some sort of, I don't know. I don't know what's their motives behind putting that out there. Just like they put out, a lot more LBGT, the homosexual and lesbian community and lesbian lifestyle into movies and videos, but that's a whole nother story. Promoting what they want to promote to influence who they want to influence. I'm not here to get on that, but the point I'm saying is, as a solution for me, I'm finished. I'm tired. I don't have, like I said, when I was a black nationalist, I thought about revolution. I thought about rising up, marching, going out there, and then, arming myself like the Black Panthers. And I'm arming myself now, but that's for me and my family, specifically. And then anybody who is my loved ones or in my midst that I might have to protect, even if it's a lady outside and some white racist supremacist guy wants to come and harm her and she's black, or happens to be black, or she's Hispanic, any other nationality other than them, because they're not going to really attack themselves the way they attack us. They're if they are, that means they're a straight criminal. They're doing it as for rape, and they're attacking another white woman, rape or robbing her or whatever like this. That's a straight up criminal, not just a regular person who's in the workforce like the police and killing other nationalities or beating them up. This has to stop. And the only way that it's going to stop is if you remove yourself. Remove yourself. That's the number one way. That's me. I'm leaving. I'm out. Once the time comes and Allah blesses me to get what I need financially to remove myself, I know where I'm going. Nobody needs to know. I don't even need to get into it anymore. I've done it in this other videos. If you haven't heard it, and that's up to you. But I really, at this point in time, it's like I'm done. And I pray that my family will follow my lead. Meaning, when I'm talking about my family, I'm talking about my wife, my children. That's the first. They're the first, because they're the first under my care. And then, like, I got brothers. I don't have sisters. I have brothers. My brothers. Oh, excuse me. Let me jump over them, because I got to definitely deal with my parent. I have still a parent, my father, and I have a grandmother, and I have aunts, and my brothers. Like I said, they're after my father. That's how the line of those that are up under you in your care first. You got to deal with your parents first. You got to definitely. So I still have a father, aging. He's not really badly old, but he's getting up there. You know what I mean? But he's still doing good. He has good health. He eats right and stuff, and I pray for him that Allah guides him. But Of course, I'm inviting him too. I'm gonna establish where I go for him and well as other family, and just build up and build it up to where it's enough, where it's spacious enough for they to go. Because we don't need to be here no more. Matter of fact, America is crumbling and it will be resetted. Just know that. Well, there's a whole another segment of a subject matter to speak on. Who's behind all this stuff that's been going on, and it hasn't been planned, and let's stop this conspiracy stuff. Conspiracy theory is straight up real conspiracy because it's been proven and it's done. It's here. We're seeing it. The plans have been put into order. But I'm not going to get into that. My point is, it's time to leave. It's time to go home. And home, I mentioned it already. Well, I said I wasn't going to mention it, where I was going. But Africa. Yeah, okay. That's the only main place that I know people like me, looking like me, and the other brothers and people who are still here and alive, and those who have been put in the grave dead. That brother, may Allah forgive him for his sins. I mean, have mercy on him. Uh, is That's where the people of my race come from, and it's not a race thing on my side of being racist. It's a thing of knowing where I'm safer at at this time. Because if I was safer in Europe, then I'll go to Europe. If I was safer in Asia, but we're not. Look what they did in China. What they've been doing in China. They're accusing Africans over there from native Africa to have COVID virus, and then throwing them out of their places of residence, homes that they might have bought or rented, and rooms that they bought that they occupying in hotels, kicked out with children with a baby in the belly, all kinds of stuff. Chinese, yeah, they come to Africa and trying to get everything. The new colonializers, but now Africans are waking up over there, starting to get them out of there, which is needs to happen because you can't allow these people to do what they want, and then they want to do what they want to you when you go to their country. They want to do what they want in your country, in your countries, in the continent, and then want to do what they want over there. Of course, because we don't care. They don't have no respect for us. So we need to go back to where we started to build our respect back up. And that's what I'm about to try to do. I'm going to reset there. I'm not resetting over here in America because it's done. It's been done for us. We just been holding on to what we don't even realize ain't ours. And we're not going to get it. We're not going to get the 40 acres of mule. We haven't gotten it. We're not getting it. And before you even think you're going to get it, you better know you got to fight. So now that's the second solution, which doesn't make sense because you're going to die. We're going to die doing it. Not maybe just any particular person. I'm not just saying specifically, but black people are going to die more. And even Islam is said when you have a rulership and you have a government that is the predominant, they're the predominance in rulership, they're going to kill you. You come to them and say, black power, black power. No, I'm not into that pan-Africanism. Not for that. Because it hasn't gone nowhere. It's no solution to that. That's not a solution. That's just an emotional, uh, um, inspired path of how you feel you want to go about having some respectability of yourself. But how you have the best knowing of respectability is that you know your place with your Lord, with Allah, that He created you with those rights. Not that you have to get them because you're black, because you come from the first people and all this other type of stuff. That's still not fully proven that African from Africa itself. It could be an Asian man that was the first man and the first woman. I mean, come on, because they got color in them too. We got to get away from that stuff. We got to get to what the core is of who we are. We're human beings first. And the one who believes in Allah as one is the best of the human beings. The one who worships Him as one and obeys Him and does what's obedient to Him. Stop all that other stuff. But anyway, Not here to bump anybody, but I'm here to be real. It's time to go. Or it's time to go on that battlefield. Because that's what they want. That's what those racist white supremacists want. Then you got the white supremacists that are in the top that just are watching everything. They're the chess movers. They playing games. But they still white. Know that. The majority of them on the top, they still white. They're not gonna let me and you be too many of us at the top. They got their tokens, but not a lot of us. Because still racism is embedded in them. They built this country with that. What? George Washington? You didn't know he was a race. You didn't know he was racist, and he was a Mason, big time. A lot of the presidents were Masons. A lot of the leaders, and they are the top, the elite, Illuminati's, all that. Okay, that's a whole nother story. Let's not go there, Talib.